Welcome to Beautifully Unfiltered, the Purple Runway podcast. The Purple Runway podcast is about breaking the silence, honoring truths, and creating honest conversations that lead healing and advocacy and empowerment. For too long, the stories of domestic violence, especially those rooted in trauma, silence, and survival, have been hidden behind closed doors, and we're here to change that. So welcome to Beautifully Unfiltered, the Purple Runway podcast, and let's walk with purpose together.
Jamal has been a part of Purple Runway for many years. His significant other partner has been a part of it for even longer, right? Mm-hmm. And I really thought it was going to be important to bring another male voice on here. We only had one. He is the second one, but he and I have worked together in a very different way. He's very passionate about the eradication of domestic violence, and he has strong positions on these topic matters that we're going to discuss today. So before we jump into what those topic matters are, I want Jamal to introduce himself, of course, and then we're going to go into a flow of 3 different topic matters. And the first one is why hurt people hurt people. The second one is going to be, we're going to talk about the misandry and gender pain and misogyny, mm-hmm. right? And then we're going to close up because I really think he has a lot of feedback to give on what men can do to prevent DV. Okay? So, Jamal, can you introduce yourself first, and then let's just jump in.
So I'm Jamal, DJ One Love Muhammad, activist, DJ, event producer, event coordinator, visual artist. I've done fashion design. Mm-hmm. I've done I'm a Renaissance man.
That's right.
But my most important title is father. Mm-hmm. I have hosted a show called The Love Lounge radio show since 2006. I've taken a little hiatus to take care of other aspects of life, but it's an actual talk show that's been in front of audiences throughout Washington, D.C. area, mainly in D.C., and at a lot of different Black-owned restaurants mm-hmm. and venues. And that's very important to me, to be in those spaces, because they're safe spaces to talk about things that we need to talk about, that we may not want to talk about, but we need to talk about. Yeah. So that's pretty much the cliff notes of who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good. And I think this conversation is going to stretch me, because you've been in a lot deeper conversations that are gender specific or conversations that are racially connected in ways that I have, and you're a man, to be honest, so you can have a discussion in a different perspective. So I want to start with the part where the hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And when we prepared for this show, I asked you, what are 3 topics that you feel really good to talk on that might be strong, mm-hmm. but I think that this is you bringing up the topic matters, and I'm going to follow your lead, because some of these topics I have not had out loud discussions about. And I think it's really needed for me within my community to be able to understand, and I trust your judgment. We're not therapists, we're not people, doctors or anything. This is from ground, boots on the ground experience and understanding what's happening in different communities. So my first question is, why, Jamal, why do you think that some men gravitate towards misogynistic spaces like the Manosphere? Mm-hmm. And you notice that, like, online on YouTube, I don't know how prominent it is right now, but I know, especially back in 2020, the Andrew Tates and all of that kind of stuff. Are you seeing that is just online banter or online, rage baiting to be able to get numbers up? Or do you see that really happening, the Manosphere in real life, where it is aligning with the misandry, or is the misandry because of what is going on in the Manosphere?
Yeah. It's a little bit of all of it from what I've paid attention to and studied. And let me preface this first by saying what I'm about to say and anything I say does not condone any behavior at all.
Okay.
It's all about understanding how things come about. Where do they start from? Because often we as human beings, we're very reactionary to what we see happen. Our greatest and strongest emotion is fear, and it's necessary for survival, but that's not always the best reaction to have. It's like when someone jumps out in front of you, they scare you. You either fight or flight immediately to survive, right? Or freeze to survive. But then you have to think about it if you have the opportunity, the time to do so, and make a decision. So I had to get that clear because on my show, I learned audiences, especially between the two sexes, will point fingers without really looking at what was the origin of this situation. So like with the Manosphere situation, it was a reaction to what I would call a assault, an intentional assault, attack, I should say, and assault on, in particular, Black men, but men in general, from the Me Too movement.
Oh,
Okay. And so once again, like I said, I don't justify any of it.
We're good,
but for people to understand things,
Yeah.
because if you have your ears to the ground and you're paying attention on social media, I saw this coming because the Me Too movement.
That was 2018.
The Me Too movement?
Yep.
Right. So I saw that coming, and and a lot of it was necessary to address the inadequacies and the neglect and just condescending approach to women. Okay. All right. So it was necessary.
So you're talking about with the Harvey Weinsteins during that time and the back and forth of what was going on?
Just all of it.
It was, okay.
And even just the sexism that's been going on in this country for centuries, basically, but especially in decades and everything. We're talking about women's rights. We're talking about equal pay. We're talking about all these, inequalities that needed to be adjusted and needed to be fixed. The problem is what we often do is we underreact to certain things that are an issue, and then we overreact when we address it. And so we will ignore something. Oh, it's just women being women.
Very true.
Blah, 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 for the longest time, and then we finally say, "Yeah, that is wrong." And then we go overboard with it. And then in the overboard, which was when the Me Too movement came in, was all men are wrong.
It was language that separated.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, of course, neither one of them are right, but I said to my audience, as a matter of fact, because like we have to be very careful on how we handle things because there is no blanket answer to this. All men are not wrong, but we know a lot of men are wrong.
Right. Okay,
so, but to go and accuse all men is going to make a lot of good men push back. Yeah, like, yo, I had nothing to do with this and you're blaming me.
Right.
So that's where a lot of that came out.
Was it that when they went from not all men, but people were putting all men in a particular category? What was the effects of the feeling like, even though I'm not that person, I'm feeling like if I walk into a restaurant here, or I don't know what that is, I'm not a man, but how did they feel that they were grouped as all men, where they would take it personal?
So it's very similar to addressing racism in that, like, sexism exists. It's been a problem, a huge problem in America. This is just a society that is so patriarchal, and But so does racism. It exists as well, and they intersect each other. So there are good men out there that, and I know this for a fact. I'm one of them, but I know a lot of other good men out there that we have fought for women's equality and rights. But then something happens, the Harvey Weinstein situation, and we're going to use him as the top example of it, but it's so much more to it. And the people that overreact group all the men, just like with racism, we know that there are good white people, and we know there are bad white people. And
all people.
Right.
That is the all. Good people and bad people.
And it's the case with everything. But when we address racism, we're addressing the bad people. But it comes off as right, that all white people are bad. And it's like, that's ridiculous. But there are a lot of there are a lot of bad white people that have enough power to make it horrible for all people. So
in general,
just like there are a lot of good men, but there are a lot of bad men that make it terrible for all women. And so when you come into those spaces, it feels like you're guilty before
having an opportunity to
prove your innocence, right? And that. For a lot of men, they like I said, they start to push back and everything, but that's how you feel.
Okay.
I've been in some situations, even on my own show, I've been accused of stuff. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I'm not saying I'm on your side. I'm on the side of right. So if I pick up something and say this needs to be addressed and it doesn't favor what you want to hear, you're automatically grouping me with the rest of them, and I'm like, that's not fair.
No, that's sounds like communication that has not been approached in the right way. You have to understand it. Disagreements are great if you know how to communicate in the right way to get to we agree to disagree, or I can see your side of the topic matter. But okay, so from 2018, then you bring in the Andrew Tates of the world, and then you bring in the Diddy's of the world. Okay, so that's bringing us all the way up till now. Right? Do you think the misogyny started before the misandry at the level that we're seeing it on both sides of those equations? And we're specifically talking about in these social media streets or in communities that are not communicating in such a way, they're just getting defensive. What do you think?
Without a doubt. The misogyny was there way before the misandry.
Okay.
Way before. And it's part of the reason why the misandry rose so high, because there was so much misogyny. And that's why we have to talk about both to understand things. But, we have to understand things like, we're talking about women being allowed to vote. We're talking about women being allowed to have a credit card. That wasn't until the 70s.
That's true.
Like, I didn't even know that. I didn't understand it until like a couple years ago. It's like, wait a minute, women weren't even allowed to have credit cards?
That's how in the weeds it was.
Right, yeah. And
it is, in a lot of ways, it is nowadays.
And being in empowering positions, and like you're saying, the hiring practices, the pay wages, women becoming doctors or president. All these different things, shout out to Shirley Chisholm, by the way.
Shout out.
So you have that, and that has transcended race, religion, economics and everything around the world. You've had that issue. So it's been there way before. But then the pushback was the misogyny that came. And I did a special study for a long time on misogyny within the Black community. And because it's actually extremely directly related to domestic violence. There became a disdain, a hate towards men, or I would say males, period, that came out of that. And there's this brother, Dr. T. Hassan, who's on Facebook that I follow, and he's on YouTube and I don't know what other platforms, but he's done I would say an excellent job of pointing out misandry, okay, in a way that was very enlightening. And once again, I don't agree with everything he or anybody else says, but the research and information he was putting out there really enlightened me. And it was a sister who basically connected me with him. She's like, you need to check this dude out and follow him and work based off of her being a guest on my show. The hatred, and that's a strong word, hate, that comes out of that misandry. There was literally women, Black women, who were saying that even Black boys don't deserve to be alive. And it's like, what? But they're using their social media platforms to spit this out. And that's no better than
That's
men.
horrible.
That's
horrible.
It's horrible.
If that is what is happening,
and I mean,
that's horrible.
Like literally, I have I save stuff on my phone of the the posts and stuff and things of this because people wouldn't believe me, and we addressed it on my show, and I posted, showed it on my show and everything, and people were like, "Wow!" And I was like, "Yeah, these are the type of things that happen."
Okay, so let me ask you this. That just blew me away.
Yeah.
That.
I mean, look, they're talking about boys.
Understanding, I have a son. Okay,
right, yeah.
I have a son that is a man right now, and there is nothing in the world that would make me say that anybody's son, no matter who it is, that's crazy. Okay, I'm stuck there for a second.
Yeah.
Let me just
Right,
let me move on. Now, do you think that this disconnect in families and communities is it because it's a lack of family modeling?
Yeah, it is a lot.
Okay, so if we're saying things in such a way, I think it is because we've gone through a generation, okay, of two-parent households being dismantled, whether it's by the government, whether it's by our decisions, whether it's by our environments or whatever. So do you think we're just taking it from 2018 all the way up to what's going on now?
Right.
And when we have single parent households, okay, because sometimes you have single parent households and dads are taking care of the kids.
Yeah.
The majority of the moms are taking care of the kids though. But when you have that single parent household, right? And whether a mother is going through a hard time within her personal life and the kids over here, because I know when I was a kid and my mom was on the phone and girl, Now, when you're talking about that significant partner that is no longer together or whatever, and it's a hatred of the father, and it's a hatred of what you're saying that's going on today, does that have to do with more of the misandry nowadays because they've seen it, they felt it through their parent, in order for that disconnect to be as huge as it is now? And you're seeing it on social media playing out, even with Sean Combs, right? A man that doesn't respect his mama, and I'm not saying he ain't gonna kiss her on the cheek and he ain't gonna pay for her stuff, but this is real. People have witnessed the treatment of her. So you're going to treat other women that way. Absolutely. My son would never treat his wife that way, nor would he accept his daughter to be treated that way. I know I went off a tangent. I just couldn't believe you just told me that.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I'm going to let you have it. Go ahead.
So, yes, to answer your question, there's a documentary by a brother named James Morton.
Okay.
He used to live in this area. I believe he lives in Atlanta now. And I showed it as a group viewing and discussion afterwards, called Daddy Dearest. And in this documentary, he interviews a bunch of young girls who grew up without their fathers. And he asks them questions and they express themselves. And they talk about how they feel about not having grown up with a father. And there's this one young lady, it starts out with her, and she is in so much pain and angry because her father wasn't around. And she's a teenager, and it clearly has wrecked her life, not having this father figure in her life. And it makes you want to jump through the TV and hug her.
Right.
But she's so angry, and she's crying while she's talking about it, and how her mom had to do everything by herself, and I don't understand why you weren't there, and this and that, and it made me feel worthless, et cetera, et cetera. And the deep part about it was they interviewed the mother afterwards, and the mother goes, I didn't know she felt like that.
Oh, wow.
And so then they asked the mom, well, what happened? Why did he leave? She said, actually, he didn't leave. I was the one who decided I didn't want to be with him.
Okay.
And she goes, but I never told my daughter that. And so it was like, wait, what? And so the mom was blown, like, I hurt my daughter by doing this. And the dad.
How old was the daughter?
She was a teenager. I was probably like 14,
Okay.
I think. It's been a minute since I watched it.
Okay.
And the point is, she was so angry. She was angry at men as a whole because of this. Thus, the misandry that started to come out of this because of others that are in positions like this, other young girls and so forth. And she had the same energy that I saw in studying the misandry part of this whole thing. And when you look at like the Black race and what we've been through, gone from crack in the 80s,
yeah.
okay, crack and mass incarceration, which are two in the same nest, two eggs in the same nest, and how it decimated the Black community by stripping the Black males.
Because it was thrown in the community.
It was thrown into it, and we didn't know what was happening.
Right.
I remember this era. I was a teenager. I remember the era clear as day, and we didn't know what was going on. So we're, as a community across the country, just reacting to what we're ducking from bullets and things right at that very moment, and just trying to keep our nose above water, let alone our mouth. And we're seeing men disappear. Fathers, uncles, cousins, nephews, brothers, removed from our family, because we're talking about the family structure. And this is when the two-parent household really just went away. Right. And then it left a lot of women to have to handle everything themselves. And then you include the welfare laws where the father couldn't be in the house.
I was going to say that, but
I went through that, watching my father and everything. In order for us to get public assistance, welfare, WIC, Section 8, my father wasn't allowed to live in the house. So we had to do it in secret. He couldn't even hold a 9-to-5. So he had to do a lot of stuff under the table. Now, he was there every day. Rest in peace. He was amazing. But going through all this.
That's a trauma in itself.
It really is. And imagine the stress. Okay.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of other families in my neighborhood, they didn't have their fathers because of all of these elements, the crack epidemic, the crime that came with that, the law enforcement, over enforcement that came with that and everything. I saw men that I admired go to prison.
Yeah. We're seeing that over enforcement you're just talking about today in a different way. It's just not crack being put on the street. It is domination that is being put on the street.
One of the my regulars on my show, Dr. Keith Crawford, brought this up. Shout out to him and the National Institute of Health. He was talking about when we had the two-parent households, we also had dinner together as a family.
Yes.
And that gave time for everybody to talk
Mm-hmm.
and to communicate. And he said often the fathers would talk to their children.
That's right.
And so you had the opportunity for the daughter to talk to dad, the son to talk to dad, to talk to mom, vice versa, everything. And you got to hear and learn. And that went out the window as well, because, you know, when the mom had to start working 2 jobs
Or 3.
or 3 or 4, or doing whatever you got to do, now you don't have that dinner time. It's eat when you get to eat.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Latchkey kids.
latchkey
Yeah.
and all of that. And a lot of that communication went out the window. A lot of that seeing the opposite sex interact went out the window.
And it was a slow drip,
It really was.
you know, to the dismantling. Go ahead.
I just want to say this, because for that era, I studied the prison industrial complex
Okay.
in the early 2000s. And what I learned was that from 1985 to 2004, incarceration rates for Black males went up 500% across the country, which is just mind-boggling, 500%. And a lot of those men that went away, when they come back, they're angry.
Of course.
They're just used to violence. They become hardened and everything. But the families are angry too, because they've been gone so long.
Right.
So you got a lot of this tension.
And that environment, he's been living in this environment. We've been living in this environment. Right. And either environment, it's been a struggle. So when you try to put those 2 pegs back together again, it's the pegs don't match.
No, it's square. You know,
it's a square and a round hole.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So I can tell you something. Like there was this over the past month or so. My family and I, we started reading books together. My mom and dad moved back down here this way and everything, so we started reading books together. And it was the book Sky Full of Elephants.
Okay.
And I can't remember the author right now, whatever. But it was talking about the Black family and how, you know, through all kinds of this particular event that happened, that we had to learn, or we learned how to engage with one another. Because when you live in fear and your nervous system is not settled. Yeah. Now I'm saying that is because the event, I don't want to give the book away, but the way the book is set up, it's that we had to, certain communities were really learning how to say, you know what, we don't have to fear that anymore. We don't have to go through that anymore, right? So thinking about what you know, being a native to this area, I'm not, but you're a native to this area, where can the conversation pick up where, or do you have young people talking to you that they do feel this way? They are hardened. What can we do to have more vulnerable conversations amongst our young children that they have to unlearn some things in order to grow and remove that misandry and the misogyny mindset?
Well, first of all, it's going to have to start with the adults having to unlearn it. And that's tough. Teaching the old dog new tricks is tough. But that's what I learned from my show, and that's why I created my show, was I learned we were not communicating with each other nowhere near what we should be. We were not talking about the tough topics that need to be addressed. The reason I created my show is I was DJing down on U Street in DC, a place called Bar None on Monday nights, and I had the upstairs area to myself, and I had this whole floor lounge area. And when I was DJing, I had a nice crowd come in every week, but people would come up to me and talk to me while I was DJing, which I still don't know why, but they just gravitated to me, and both men and women. And they would ask me questions, random questions about relationships, about life, these different things for some reason. And then I was like, do we communicate with each other like this? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to create a discussion group. And I did it, and long story short, it became my talk show. And it became the Love Lounge. I'm DJ One Love. People thought love meant relationships. It was like, no, one love like Bob Marley, like Houdini, like Nas, love, one love for all of us. That's where the One Love came from. So then the Love Lounge was because it was One Love's Lounge, and that was the show. And that's when I learned we are not on the same wavelength at all about life.
And I agree. So the adults, you know, like you said, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, especially when an environment is what it is.
Yeah.
Because let's just say, if you're Farnsworth Bentley, in the sense of the name, you've grown up and you might be in, you know, on the House on the Water, and that those summer. At the summer house, the vacation home, regulates your system, the way you see the world, right?
Yeah.
If you're growing up in Iraq, that regulation, you don't see the world, you don't see day-to-day living in the same way. So how can we take this, or what framework do you think will work where we can't teach old dogs new tricks? But I think it's the kids that are seeing things on social media and they want to emulate that.
Yeah.
But then you see the ones that are getting tired. Like, I want to live in my soft season. I don't want to do this no more. I'm tired. Or the Candy and what's his name? Todd situation, right? Where she said, I was smiling, you know, and all those smiles and all those things you saw me in, I was hurting. Because if it's taking those people to hide, it's not helping.
No, and that's.
But they wouldn't be there if they weren't hiding.
No, that's where the realness has to come in, and we have to make, as adults, we have to make conscious decisions that we're going to address real life instead of celebrity life, what we see on screen. That's why
they lead us down the wrong roads a lot of the time.
That's why I did my show to talk about it.
I'm saying it with my chest.
Because what are we giving our children if this is all we're doing? You know, and I'm not knocking any one particular show or group of people. I'm saying all of it needs to be addressed. That, you know, we can't allow.
Those are just the clips that I've seen. I don't watch any.
I became strongly against shows like Basketball Wives.
I don't watch that.
And any of those type of shows.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying.
Because I was like, that's not.
It
may be real in their realm, but their realm is so small compared to the everyday life that everybody else out there is enjoying.
In the real world.
But it's representing all of us.
Yeah.
And so young people are looking at it on TV and they're thinking this is how we're supposed to interact.
But you can take on particular attitudes because you watch. It's like music.
Yeah.
Right? If look, let me put this to me. If I'm riding down the street and I'm listening to Tupac, you know,
absolutely.
If I'm riding down the street listening to Patti LaBelle, I'm like, ooh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So words and the way people's emotions are, the way that they defend themselves or the way that they don't defend themselves, you watch that kind of stuff that's going on those TV shows, and it's just not one of them. You can watch Beverly Hills, Orange County, and you can go through the gamut of them, and it's the same energy. So we think this energy is okay.
Yeah, and we have to be. That's what I'm saying. We have to be careful as adults on what we allow ourselves to be exposed to and what we absorb.
Yeah.
Because we get caught up in it. I mean, you would think that someone in their mid-50s, like me, would know that's not real. But then I talk to some other people, I'm like, y'all really believe that they really are beefing like this every day and that this type of drama is going on?
Real life. No, because it's entertainment.
It's entertainment. A lot of it is scripted. And I know for a fact because I work in the industry backstage for a lot, with a lot of these people, I've met just about everybody, especially the legends, working with BET and a lot of other, entities out there over the years. And it's like, they're not like that.
Right.
They're I've met people that are on some of those reality shows, Nene Leakes and others like that, and they're not like that in real life. But they're getting paid just like no different than Robert De Niro would be getting paid.
Right.
Al Pacino is not really Scarface in real life.
Right.
So we think that they are.
Right.
We think that whatever Snoop or Dre or Tupac or Biggie or whatever back then, or Ice Cube, we think they really live that life that they are putting out there on wax and in videos. So we have to be very aware of it, what we allow our children to see. And that's why it says it starts with us, Like me DJing, I don't play any ratchet music.
No, you don't.
No,
you don't.
I'm not going to.
And you can keep people on the floor at the same time.
And I keep people on the floor.
Yep.
And the reason why I said 2 reasons. One, I don't want to expose my soul to that energy.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't want to expose anybody else's.
Right.
I had to stop DJing at a skating rink because the kids were requesting songs that I'm like, I'm not playing that song.
Bingo. There you go. We have to understand what our values are.
Yeah.
Personally, forget any and everybody else, what we see, what are our values? We have to name them and we have to live by them. So the thing is that right now, so many people are wanting to rage bait on things because they want followers, they want this. Now, the beautiful thing about where we are at Beautifully Unfiltered here is that I don't want to rage bait you.
Yeah.
Because when you finish raging, you're going to find this space. Right? You're going to get tired of raging. Society is going to get tired of raging.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. So, you know what? You may not like, everybody is, found their, moving past their traumas or they found their healing. You know what? It's a whole bunch of people talking about that and have no idea how to get there. They're not in the environment to be able to have people to tell them, you know what? You got to go on your own healing journey.
Yeah.
You have to learn to separate from that. So here, I want to be able to bring people like you and other people that are coming on saying, you know what, we've been doing this less than 15 episodes. But the fact of the matter is, I don't care about the numbers, first of all. Second of all, when someone is going through, these numbers are going to go. I got a text message this morning where someone was up at 3:00 in the morning saying, I just watched this particular episode, Gigi. Thank you for it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So that is the way that I am being me. I'm moving within my values. I'm moving within my healing and my growth, and hoping that those people that are struggling with certain things understand that.
Yeah.
We need more of that because, the thing is it's like bumping chests when you did the rap battle and the rap dances. Well, I got this move, I got that move. Well, you got 1,000 followers, or I got 5,000 followers. But what are you doing with them?
Yeah.
Are you rage baiting them? Are you teaching them something? Or are you just adding numbers for whatever reason that's harmful to the community? Whether you're misandry, you're misogyny, or you just want to hurt people and hurt the community at large.
Yeah.
I know I just went on a rant, but I mean, I haven't got to talk about.
You're right about that, though, and we have to, as adults, find our purpose, understand that any and everything that we do has a ripple effect on our children. And that doesn't mean we can't have fun. That doesn't mean we have to be perfect.
My fun.
Right. And you don't have to be perfect, but you need to be cognizant of what you do. I was the director of the Words, Beats, and Life after school arts academy down in DC in Benning Park. Very bad neighborhood. Very very bad neighborhood. Not as bad as it used to
It's
be.
in D.C.?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's, all DC ain't bad.
No, heck
Yeah,
no,
most
not
of it
at
is
all.
great. But
It
you
is
got just
really
like
nice
any other city,
neighborhoods.
you got some bad areas.
Yeah.
And it was just that particular area, it's bad, but it was the type of environment that I grew up as a kid. So it was home to me. But I watched how when you put positive things in front of children and teenagers, they absorb it and they become positive. But if you put negative things in front of them, they become negative. And so that's why it's like we have to be conscious of it, And also we can't be afraid to stand up.
True.
And set examples. One of the things I wanted to talk about, and I don't know if we're ready to go there yet, but it's like what men can do to help prevent domestic violence.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Number one, lead by example. Okay.
So I want you to say what you say, but let me ask you this: because of the neighborhood, because of the situation, your dad was there the whole time, even under the circumstances. Did he? Because I remember Michelle Obama saying in one of her books or whatever, how her father was a father to many of the children in the neighborhood, right? Did your father have to help play that role, or as a mentor or support system, or telling someone you're doing wrong and this is the reason why? And did they listen to him? And do you know those people now?
So, first of all, let me preface this.
Okay.
I didn't grow up in D.C. I grew up in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I moved to D.C. in the early 90s.
Okay.
But
either or.
It's the same type of environment.
Okay.
Okay. But my father, later on, when I was in high school, I think it was in high school, me and my friends on our street, we were having a conversation, shout out to Rankin Boulevard. And we got to talking about, this is in the late to mid 80s. How many families grew up where the father was still in the household in our neighborhood, right? And we came up with 3 in our neighborhood, 3 out of thousands of people. And it was like Mr. Hester, shout out to him, my Uncle Larry, and my Abu. Abu, by the way, for people who don't know, is Arabic for father. And it was like, I think like that's all we could think of.
Right.
And there was 2 more, but we didn't even think of them. Mr. Murphy, and you could see the difference in their children. But like, yes, they became kind of the community fathers, because young people want that.
Yeah.
So if they see it, they may become envious and jealous, or they gravitate to it. And so you take like my Uncle Larry, who was very involved in the community, instrumental in helping to clean up basketball courts and rec centers and things like that. Everybody knew and respected him. Mr. Hester, the same thing. And they became like your surrogate father, so to speak, everything, because of that. Because you didn't see a lot of that. Because, like I said, a lot of those men were being taken away off these streets.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes. Now, my father was so concentrated on the household, and he did an excellent job in protecting us, that I didn't realize outside he was highly respected until my friends started telling me later, when I was a teenager, how like, oh man, your dad is so smart. This and that. I'm like, how you know about that? And it's like, he was at this thing and he was talking and everything. I'm like, oh, okay, because when you live with him, it's like, man,
that's just my dad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah. But to answer your question, yes, and it was very important. But by leading by example, one of the other things that I learned was the emotional intelligence that can be passed on from father to sons and uncle to nephews and things like that. That is very important for males, especially Black males, to have in this society. My father had worked in the prisons. He was a counselor. for 18 years. And that's why I started studying the prison industrial complex. And he was telling me a lot of things because a lot of my friends were in prison that I grew up with. And he was like, your friend, this person, that person, yeah, he's here now and everything. And in particular to domestic violence, this was which was so heavy. My marriage, my ex-wife, and we're great friends. You met her before.
Yeah, I met her.
We
Yep.
cool, and everything.
She's beautiful too.
Yeah, beautiful, great person.
Yeah.
But when we were married, she was going through a lot. And I didn't understand it until, I got into it and realized it had nothing to do with me. That's why we're still great friends. It had nothing to do with me. And because she was hurt. She had went through a lot. She had seen a lot. And she saw domestic violence in her family. She had been through a lot of pain in other relationships. And it manifested into her being aggressive to me. And here I am thinking, I'm this good guy and everything, and I'm taking you on and your children.
You didn't experience that growing up?
So no, I didn't experience it at all.
Yeah.
My father never showed like any hint of trying to do anything to my mother. And thank goodness for him.
So you were naive, like I was.
Yeah,
you were naive to the fact that that would happen. Okay.
And so here she was. She had seen it. She had experienced it her own self. And basically, it got to the point where she was lashing out at me of the littlest things. And I'm a big dude. And I was bigger back then. I was like 20 pounds heavier back then,
that doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I could have easily hurt her.
Yep.
All right. But she would, and she was,
it was not how you were raised.
Right. So she started being violent towards me, and my father had to have a conversation with me and tell me, you're going to have to leave this marriage because until she can get herself together, she's going to jeopardize your life. He said, I have so many of your friends and other young men in prison because of similar situations where if they would have just left that woman,
they wouldn't be there.
They wouldn't be here.
Wow.
And he was saying it to say, not, of course, not to condemn the women, to say,
no.
Emotional intelligence says, do not allow yourself to be in a space where someone is attacking you constantly, and then you end up having to defend yourself or protect yourself, or you end up allowing them to get you all riled up, and now you become violent.
Yep.
And that was the things that the men were teaching me in my family. My uncles as well were saying the same thing. And that saved me, because it was like, I took heed to those words, because I ended up having a situation where she got violent with me. She called the police after she got violent with me. And all I did was protect myself and not punching or anything. I'm talking about she hitting me and throwing, jumping on my back, and I threw her off me to get out of the house. The police put out a warrant for my arrest.
Yeah.
And she called me calmly and was like, I just want to let you know I had called the police because she was mad, all right, that I was leaving. And they came and they saw that she had a little bruise on her shoulder from when I threw her off, and they pressed charges. She said, I didn't do it. And she would never have, because she wasn't that person. Like I said, we're good people. And we went to court. Judge was like, what happened? And I told him, and then the judge asked her, is that what happened? And she said, yeah, that's what happened. It was me, it was all me. And the judge was like, you need to leave, because I've seen this too many times, and it can get ugly. And thank God I left, because
thank God she was honest.
Oh, and thank God she was honest. Yes, thank God she was honest. That was the one. That's why we're still best of friends to this day, because she was always honest. She was just hurt, but the emotional intelligence aspect of it was, don't allow yourself to become something bad just because other people are going through something. And I've had to tell other young men this. Ray Rice, remember the Ray Rice situation?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
I remember having a conversation on my show and with a lot of other younger men about that, because they were like, yeah, but she spit on him. And I was like, so you're going to lose everything because someone spit on you. yeah, but that's the most disrespectful thing anybody. I said, no, it's not, number one. But two, it's like, he punched her. He's beating her up because
And he's a
football player.
Mack truck.
Yes.
With all force.
He's running over 300-pound linemen.
Yes.
Okay.
With a couple of them.
Right. And I'm like, and now he never played another down because of this.
Lack of what?
Emotional intelligence. Right.
Control. Yeah.
And I said, you said, you have to be smarter than that.
That's
about this. Just because you're bigger and stronger doesn't mean that you should take over someone. Even if they're wrong, sometimes you got to learn how to walk away. And you got
too much to lose.
Yeah. And you need to show that other person.
Yes.
As well, if you care about them.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the thing about it with my ex-wife. It's like, I loved her. You know, as a friend, I still love her. It's like, I had to show her. And she thanks me all the time to this day, you know, but it's like, that's the other part of it. And that's what I'm saying. What men can do is we have to be able to be smarter and control ourselves, because we have egos. And, you know, with other men, we will, you know, it's the alpha male thing, and fighting each other, or, you know, sticking their chest out each other. I said, but you can't always do that in life. And sometimes, and I had it just happen on the way down here. Somebody can be wrong. They cut me off twice. I'm from the streets. The first thing is to go and cut them back off. I'm like, what am I going to get out of this?
I'm going to get my heart racing and an attitude, and I'm going to feel some kind of way by the time I get where I get to where I'm going.
And more deeper, this could lead to the worst case scenario, which I actually had happen to one of my brothers, where 2 people ended up dead.
Oh, wow.
Because of that.
Road rage?
Road rage. Because of the cutoff and everything. And I'm like, is this worth it? Because when I talked to my brother afterwards, he ended up in jail. He was like, yeah, it wasn't worth it.
It's never worth it.
Of course it's not worth it.
It's never worth it.
And so
smart people walk away a lot of times, right? Everybody has a line. But when that is your initial reaction, because look, I'm going to tell you, I have an attitude at times.
Yeah.
But I'm not putting my hands on nobody.
Absolutely.
Okay? As long as you ain't here, I'm going to walk away. But I am going to defend myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the thing is, it is the latter. I had to learn that. You understand that. Many people understand that. It is not reaction. And that's where we're getting all of this. These people, okay, I'm going to say something that people may not like right now. Y'all don't hold me against me. I'm just talking about the conversation that you and I are having.
Yes.
There is a thing where I think the discussion needs to be had.
Just say it.
I know.
Just say it.
I know.
Like I said, we got to be honest with each other.
I know. Where right now it is how we say believe all women. I'm going to say believe all people.
Thank you.
And I don't know what has happened over the past few years.
Yeah.
But it hurts me to my heart, because you know what? That has come to my front doorstep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you cannot believe everybody that says they've done this to you and they've done that to you.
Yeah.
I have been sent fake paperwork. And you know what happened? I said, when is that person supposed to be arrested? What did they do?
Yeah.
How did that? Are you serious? I can still get in touch with everything right now. And some told me, don't move. Don't do anything. Oh, he's being arrested tomorrow? Okay. He's being, they had something else come up. You know, they had to go to dinner that night. It was just the story wasn't adding up.
Yeah.
Even though you sent me this paperwork, the magistrate, the court, how did you doctor all of this? So when people say, under these circumstances, believe all people, Nah.
No.
I will believe you with proof.
Yeah.
Coming from a survivor myself.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the BS.
Mm-hmm.
First-handed, written receipts, proof, and the person saying that was being supposedly charged with this.
Yeah.
None of that happened.
Yeah. You just hit home for me, and I hadn't thought about it. 2016.
Bruh.
Let me tell you.
Bruh.
So when you just thought about,
You just don't know.
my son, who I raised, student at Morgan State up in Baltimore, falsely accused of rape.
Mm-hmm.
This is my son,
Mm-hmm.
okay, who I raised to respect women.
Mm-hmm.
He one time had a little tantrum with his mother, and I straightened him out so well.
Yeah.
It was never going to happen again. And that's what I'm supposed to do. But he's such a good dude. And he's watched me, and he watched me and his mother.
Mm-hmm.
So, he saw the control I had. Falsely accused of rape. And this is why he's in college. I done got this boy out of the hood, the streets, all these things. Got him into college. Both him and his sister, both Morgan State, HBCU.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Also, yes. The young lady was mad because he admitted where he was wrong because he cussed her out because things didn't happen the way that they wanted it to happen. Okay. He said, I'll admit that, Dad. I was wrong. I shouldn't have talked to her like that. And he knows it. He said, and I said, it's okay. He says, but her friends convinced her to call the cops on him and say he raped her. Long story short, it wasn't true. It didn't happen.
He didn't have charges following him for the rest of his life.
No, goodness, but they came and got him.
Yeah,
arrested
he had to go through all of that.
I was DJing one of my famous parties I used to do on U Street when it happened. He called me, and I had to have my other friend finish DJing while I was on the phone. Call my lawyer. The police didn't know who I was. They didn't know I was an activist. I had a lot of, thank goodness, a lot of political connections in the DMV, DC, and Baltimore because of my activism stuff. And I called one of my friends who, at the time, she was a lawyer for the ACLU. She called one of the top lawyers up in Baltimore. He came to the station. They let him go once they saw who he was. I'm gonna just say this: he handled a lot of big cases up there. It took 4 months investigating because the police tried to get him to just confess. But I taught him all of this. So once they found out who I was, they backed up off of it. And I'm not saying this to be bragging. I'm saying that they saw my ties. And I'm like, because I'm actually going to work with the police.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
When needed, definitely.
Yeah, because I'm about accountability. Just because you go cop don't mean you're wrong. There's bad cops and there's great cops.
Sure are.
So I knew great cops. That was
I know great cops.
And they was like, call me if you have a situation. So that's what I did. He ended up missing 3 semesters because of this.
Because he got kicked out of school.
He got kicked out while they was investigating and everything. But had they just taken her word, and it was a female campus police officer. She was the one who was like, I know your son. He ain't do this. She's like, I got your back because I know he's a great guy. And he says, I know some of these young ladies that have been doing this lately. And I don't know where they're getting this from, but this is what they've been doing. So long story short, they dropped it. He goes back to school. Now he's not supposed to go within 100 feet of her. He calls me, he's like, Pops, I'm in the computer room. She just came in here and looked at me and went and sat down. And I said, get up and leave. He said, I'm already leaving. But it was.
And this goes both ways. I understand what you're saying. It goes both ways.
That's my whole point. It goes both ways. Exactly. It goes both ways. And that's what I'm saying. So you can't believe one story.
Yeah, you can't.
Either way, you can't.
You can't just because someone says something.
Yes.
With proof.
Because my son, here was the crazy thing about my son.
And at one point in time, you didn't have to do that.
No. The beautiful thing about my son was he was like, through all of this, he's like, I don't hate her. I feel sorry for her because I don't that she, whatever she's been through, that she felt that she needed to do this. And, you know, so he had compassion and understanding because that's what I raised him with, to understand, you know, just because somebody does something like that, they hurt people. Hurt people.
That's where we're starting.
And that was the point of it, understanding that. And that when you understand that, it helps you to be able to have the emotional intelligence to say, okay, I'm not going to lash out on you because you tried to hurt me because you're hurt.
Yep.
You know, and going back to the whole thing with the Jenks Morton documentary, Dear Daddy, she could have been one of those.
Yeah.
For all we know.
Yeah.
And that's why we as adults have to be more aware of our decisions, you know, and not put the kids first for everything, but put everybody first.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, that was one of the examples of why it is a special skill to work with emergency services. I respect it.
Yeah.
And what we do here, once you get out of that and you get settled and you're ready to heal from inside out, that's where we come in. Because of everything that we talked about today, I can't be in the manosphere. I don't qualify, right?
Yeah.
But if you are a misandry,
Mm-hmm.
let's find out why, if you're ready to change that.
Right, yeah.
If you are a person that hurt people, come over here. Let's talk about that and see why. But I don't want, personally, to deal with all of you said, we said, he said, they said, and emergency services, because there are skilled, qualified people that need to do that.
That's right.
Right? But when I truly felt like this person knew me, she's been in the same place. I mean, it was more connection than usual, right? And then for this falsifying, but I'm going to protect what's over here as much as possible. And that's the reason why it didn't happen. Those people are not for me.
Yeah.
But what we know is right now, we talked about through 2018, the Me Too Project. We talked about the both sides of these equations and how we can get there through environment or lack thereof anything. And I think we're going to end this episode with, we don't have the answers for that.
Right, yeah.
Right? But what we do know is that we have the answers for how you stood up in your own situation, how you understand your son and how you raised him. And although he went through that, it could have been much worse. Okay? Because we are moving in a direction of, you can't believe every loud cry of anything. So with that in mind, I have a couple more questions before we close.
Can I say one more?
Sure.
My son is the same person who stood up to 3 guys at Morgan State. One of the guys was trying to beat up his girlfriend.
See? Yeah.
And he stood up and protected her.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying this, to understand. And when he told me about it, they tried to jump him, and he took care of all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Because he's a big dude. But he was saying, he told me why. He said, because the one guy was pushing this girl around, and he was starting to get violent with her, and he had to step in between them. And he's
I'm sure he didn't want it to get violent. He was just trying to, and then alpha.
My son had to step in and protect her and get her out of the party into safe. And then his 2 friends, they tried to jump him. So this is the type of person he is, and what I raised him to be. And he was like, Pops, you always taught me to protect our women.
Yeah.
And I said, that's right.
That's right.
I said, that's why we've been given these big bodies, this strength and everything. I said, that's our number one priority is to protect our women.
Yeah.
So I just had to put that in there to understand everything, you know. So when we have these accusations and we don't know everything, you know, we have to be careful about it. Don't because you don't know the character of the person that you're, you know, accusing and everything at all times.
But you're ruining someone's life that is not true.
Yeah.
You know, that is not true.
Yeah.
And I think that within agencies and communities, centers, and after-school programs, I think that is one of the things that, or a major source of discussions that they need to have with these kids starting in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. So I don't care where they are, you know, because if you think about what is happening at colleges and what is her name? Jane Doe. I read her book called Jane Doe, and where Brock Turner, I think Brock Turner is his name, where he, you know, did what he did on a college campus by the trash can, and it took people like your son to pull him off. And then he got off. He just made a bad decision. He made a bad decision.
Yeah.
But you know the trauma she went through on that?
Yes.
So we need after school programs. We need like home economics again or something. I don't know. We're taking out the things from school that keeps us human. And if we don't discuss prevention and protecting ways, then we're going to have people that think it's a lie like DoorDash girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a warped understanding of what any of this means. And she truly feels that she was the victim.
Yeah.
We can go on and on.
Yeah,
but
we can.
we're gonna cut it here. So if y'all come for me, make sure you ready.
Yeah.
Okay? Because this is a subject that we don't have answers for. We need our communities to help in pockets to give our young kids answers, because can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
Right? But we see where things are shifting in this society.
Yeah.
So before we close, I want you to offer our listeners a reflection. So this is your camera right here.
Okay.
And what would you want them to take away in a growth way, in a protection way, in a healing way? What would you want them to take away from your values and from what we discussed today?
So what I would want them to take away is my father, rest in peace, raised me to respect and honor and protect women. That's what he did for my mother and my sisters, his sisters, you know, the community. But also to protect yourself, not just physically,
right,
but mentally and spiritually. And, you know, the old saying is do unto others as you want done to yourself. But go a step further than that, and to help others that can't help themselves. You know, I have intervened on numerous occasions in situations. I have friends and things where I was like, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
And I put my life on the line to protect those women, and at the same time protect those guys, explaining to them there's consequences to this dude.
That's right.
Not just
being a hothead.
Yes, there's consequences because I could hurt you, or you could hurt me, and we ain't even talking about what you do to her, and there could be heavy consequences to that. Yeah. So I'm protecting the guys as well by doing this. It's not one-sided, because we have to protect everybody, and we have to think about it. So I just want people to think about those things, and for the men out there, you have to be smart. Okay, you know, right now Diddy is a disgrace. He's a disgrace. What's his name? Ray Rice never played again.
Yeah.
And you're like, was it worth it? And those are the ones that got caught. There's a lot more that have never gotten caught,
Yeah.
you know, and my father used to tell me when we was young, like the highest that domestic violence would be occurrences was after like big games in sports.
Yeah, when they lost or something like that. Yeah.
You know, and he used to tell me this when I was a young man.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like to think about your emotions
Yeah.
and everything. You know, they take it out on a woman and everything. And it's like, what are you doing here? And why? You know, so I just want us to have purpose on our everyday walking and understand this. We have to be the protectors of our community, both the men and the women, okay? Because it takes a village to protect the village, you know, and we can't just rely on the police, and nor should we have to, you know, and we have to protect our homes, we have to protect our streets and our communities, and just keep that in the front, you know, and sometimes people, both sexes, same sexes, will piss you off. Okay, emotions run high when you're in relationships. I get it, but it should never result to physical or mental violence or emotional violence. You know, you gotta, if it comes to that, you gotta think, why am I here? Because this is not what it's supposed to be. And that's what the young people have to learn, is that it's not supposed to be that. So watching a lot of those shows where they show that that's the norm, I'm like, that's not, and that's not healthy. And we got to flip that somehow, controlling the narrative, not participating in those things, and show them that that's not healthy and that's not what the norm's supposed to be, despite what they've been exposed to.
Right. So thank you for that. And I'm going to close with a lot of what you said and bring it full circle. But I have to ask you, our famous question, our signature question on our show is, you're DJ, so I know it's going to be hard for
it's
you.
Impossible.
I know. To narrow down to one. But if just thinking about what we discussed and talked about, name a song that you want people to walk away with, and taking the pieces of what you've shared of you with this audience. What would that song be?
If I had to pick one, and I'm not sure if this is totally accurate for this, but Stevie Wonder's Joy Inside My Tears.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's one of my favorite all-time hit home songs. It's one of them. But that song covers a lot.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's joy inside any of the tears, the pains and things. So, you know, I have compassion, and I've learned to have more compassion for those that have hurt me, understanding that they have been hurt. And I've learned to have more compassion for others that go through things, and not just thinking the way, you know, from my shoes that oh, well, I didn't do this, so he shouldn't do this, or I didn't grow up that way, so you can do it too, you know, or, you know, oh, she just making excuses. I've had to learn how to have more compassion for people's circumstances, because I'm not there. I didn't walk those steps,
life,
you know.
I agree.
And so I don't know everything.
I don't
to
know.
that young girl who was in pain in that documentary, that was her real pain. She didn't understand that her dad didn't know and wasn't there, but she still went through what she went through.
Right.
So even when a lot of the misandry that has come at me or others, I'm like, but they're in pain. That's why this exists. So we need to, on both sides, the misogyny and the misandry, understand where does this come from, and in doing so, we can't be emotional and so judgmental so quickly about it. So that to me, if anybody could take that from this, that's what I would want them to take.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Jamal, thank you for coming on Beautifully Unfiltered with Gigi. And you guys, as I want to close up this episode, I think this is the first episode that I've been able to approach in a different way. And I enjoyed it for sure. But one thing that I can say about this man right here is that he lives his truth. He lives his values. And even though, you know, he's coming from a domestic violence background in a different way other than we've heard before on this channel, and he lived his truth. He walked away. Even though he walked away with a friend. He walked away with a truth that she understood. And he walked away with someone that told the truth at one of the most viable and valuable times in his life, because he could be somewhere else. I would just ask you, if you are a young person, an old person, speak your truth, but don't water it down with inconsistencies or non-truths, because we hurt and harm people's lives that way. As I said a few minutes ago, we're not going to come away from this episode with any conclusions. We can see a lot of the concerns that are in neighborhoods, environments, in the community. But one thing about it is that when you're going to tell a story, and if somebody hurts you, do not add anything to it, because it comes down to your credibility. And if you need help outside of that, there are plenty of places in the community. I know it doesn't seem like. Call our number. We'll find it. We got a way to find in every 50 state. We can connect you to something. Okay? We're not emergency services, as I always say. But if you need to talk to someone and you're ready to heal, we got you. Don't harm someone else's life.
Right. Yeah.
Because you don't want to break up. Or he or she got a new girlfriend or boyfriend and you don't like it. I want to believe, me in this position, I want to believe every single person. But I've been put in this situation not once, not twice, but 3 times since Purple Runway has been here, and learned that I cannot. And that's honest. So if you have questions, please put them in the comments. Make sure if you have a question for Jamal, just let us know. But if anything, I don't care about that part. I hope you think about it or know someone that may be plotting to think about something crazy and talk them off the ledge. Because ultimately it affects who we are, and then it's going to affect someone else's life that doesn't deserve it. Okay? So thank you guys for tuning in today. I really appreciate you being here, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode of Beautifully Unfiltered with Gigi. Bye.
This podcast is an extension of Purple Runway, where we honor survivors, celebrate their courage, and amplify the voices that are often go unheard. Whether you're a survivor, a supporter, an advocate, or someone still finding their way, you're not alone, and this space is for you.
Thank you for listening. The Beautifully Unfiltered podcast is brought to you by...
One of the things that keeps great leaders up at night is how to take a solid team and make them better. Well, we can help you figure all that out. Learn as a team, grow as a team, and have fun doing it. At Blue Stallion Solutions, we meet you where you're at and we take you where you want to go. Blue Stallion Solutions isn't just a company, it's a movement. Ride with us today.